this is another question I got to ask, mostly because I really want you to convince my students. I know you dropped the gi at your gym. I hate the fucking gi. I hate those pajamas, but I got students who like it, so I keep offering it. For my students, can you please talk to them of why we need to drop this damn gi so that I can just go to no gi only?
All right. Well, you're not going to like my answer, but I'm going to give you my honest one. No. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. The gi is an accident of history. The Japanese trained with kimonos on, so we train with kimonos on. It was introduced to us by the Japanese. The tradition stuck. It became the tool that we use for the equipment that we use to grapple in that context. Great. That's fine. However, because the system tends to move towards optimization over time, gi grips and specific grips constrain the environment and make the environment overly specific. So what we end up learning is now we're not learning how to grapple anymore. We're learning how to use a jacket and pants to grapple, which is fine, but we have to understand that is a thing in and of itself. The tool of the cloth is so powerful that it will make you overly specific as a grappler. You will no longer be a general grappler, you will be a gi grappler. Where I think no-gi has more transferability, if we could even say that, across a wider range of grappling sport. Since there is no jacket or pants, you're using a body to control a body. Now, it has its own issues, it has its own constraints, but they're more generalized and I think easier to disrupt once attractors develop. So I think that no-gi grappling is better in the long term for overall understanding of all aspects of grappling because it's less constrained by anything other than the rules of the sport you're playing and or the human body. So to me, I want to understand how a body controls a body. I don't want to understand how a jacket controls a body. I'm not interested in that anymore. So if you want to really understand grappling in its less specific context, I would say no-gi grappling is the way to go.
I've always agreed with that. I mean, my gi game is basically just no gi grappling, where I'm wearing pajamas. I don't really grip. I have, you said earlier that I used to call you Mr. Glass. I'm the same way, man. I've had so many injuries and my hands are just ruined from using the gis. I basically, when I do gi classes, I can't remember the last time I've actually like gripped a gi. I just do no gi grappling in a gi, and I'm like, why am I even doing this? Why don't I just do no gi grappling? But the same isn't true for someone who does exclusively gi. If you transfer to no gi, your game would have to change dramatically because you can't. The things you relied on are no longer there. Whereas my game going over to gi, sure, maybe it's not optimized for the rule set, but at least it still functions.
Yeah, for sure. And think about what's interesting. We take a college wrestler and put him in a gi and put him in a room. They can still be successful against whites, blues, and purple belts coming in off the street. So if it was so magical, why can't you deal with the wrestler? So yeah, I don't know. It's just to me, I think honestly, I think it is a waste of time unless you want to specialize in jacket wrestling. Then go for it. Or if you enjoy it, go for it, man. But another thing we have to consider, and this is people don't ever talk about this. So when you can control at a distance, you can produce more torque on the joints. So the fact that I can grab your lever at the very end with a strong cloth grip, I can yank the piss out of your elbows and shoulders. The fact that you have a rope around your neck, I can yank hard on your spine and on your collar. This puts a lot of stress on the joints. Same thing with the pants. I can grab the end of your pants. I'm putting so much pressure on your knees and hips when I'm moving you around. So if you want to avoid these like torque-driven injuries, taking the jacket off will help. I think the issue with no-gi grappling is injury rate would be uncontrolled falling. I think that would be a little more of an issue, slipping and falling, because it's a slippery environment. But the pressure on your joints, I think, isn't as bad.
Yeah, and I think, at the end of the day, like, hey, this is a contact combat sport. There's always going to be a risk of injury, and when people get sweaty and you're moving around, I've had people ask me all the time. Sure, you get people ask, is jiu-jitsu safe? And I'm like, as safe as something can be when you're moving around with another human body. I mean, crossing the street can be dangerous. I could slip on ice. Maybe not in the southern states, but in Canada, at least you can slip on ice most of the year. No, for sure.
Yeah, that's a discussion I hate having. Like, dude, what are you talking about? There's no such thing as a free lunch, okay? You can sit in place, you'll die. Your hips and knees will wear out. It doesn't matter. If you're scared, do something else, okay? But either way, you're dying. Deal with it. You're gonna get hurt 100%. Doing something. You're gonna be 40 and reach for a dish in a high place. And you're gonna strain your back.